Right now, as these words reach you, over 7 billion people are living their lives across the globe. Each one of them is a distinct individual, with their own aspirations, their own struggles, and a constant stream of thoughts running through their minds every moment of every day. But what separates the extraordinary few from the rest? What makes the top 1% stand out from the other 99? It's not their background, their circumstances, or even the obstacles they've faced. It's the way they speak to themselves when no one else is listening. I want you to pause for a second and really tune in to what's happening inside your own mind. What kind of voice do you hear? What story is it telling you about who you are, what you're capable of, and what you deserve? That voice, your inner narrator, is either your greatest ally or your most relentless critic. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you how to turn that voice into the most powerful force in your life. The human brain processes around 60,000 thoughts every single day. That's nearly 1 thought per second while you're awake. Now imagine 60,000 people whispering in your ear throughout the day. Some offer encouragement, others sow doubt, some are neutral, and a few are downright destructive. Which voices would you choose to listen to? Which ones would you allow to shape your decisions, your emotions, your actions? Most people never consciously decide which inner voices to give attention to. I've spent years studying the habits of high performers, those who break through barriers that stop others. I've watched entrepreneurs build empires from scratch, athletes smash world records, and artists create masterpieces that move millions. And what I discovered will challenge everything you thought you knew about success. These people weren't born with superior genes, more money, or fewer problems. What they had was a more refined internal program. The way you talk to yourself is the most important conversation you'll ever have. It happens before every decision, before every action, before every challenge you face. Most people operate on autopilot, letting their subconscious replay the same outdated patterns, the same limiting beliefs, the same fear-driven scripts that keep them stuck. But what if I told you that in just 48 hours, you could completely rewire that inner dialogue and step into a life most people only dream about? Stick with me until the end. And before we dive deeper, connect with the energy of spirit. Like this video and drop 3 sevens in the comments if you want to support this message. Your likes and comments help this video reach more people. Thank you for being part of this journey. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. This isn't some new age philosophy, it's neuroscience. When you consistently speak to yourself in a certain way, your brain begins to form neural pathways that reinforce that narrative. Every time you repeat a thought pattern, you're literally reshaping your brain structure. You're crafting your reality from the inside out. Think of the most confident person you know. I guarantee their inner dialogue is worlds apart from someone who struggles with self-doubt. A confident person wakes up and hears something like this: I'm ready for whatever comes my way today. I have everything I need to handle any challenge. I attract opportunities wherever I go. Meanwhile, someone stuck in mediocrity wakes up and immediately hears a stream of negativity, everything that could go wrong, every reason they're not good enough, every excuse for why their dreams are out of reach. But here's the breakthrough. Confidence isn't a trait you're born with. It's a skill you build through repetition. Every day, you get to choose which version of yourself you're going to reinforce. You can either strengthen the patterns that hold you back or deliberately install new ones that expand your potential exponentially. Here's something profound I want you to grasp: your current reality is nothing more than a reflection of your past thoughts. The job you have, the relationships you're in, the money in your account, the level of health and energy you feel, all of it began with thoughts and self-talk. If you're ready to transform your outer world, the next 48 hours could be the most pivotal days of your life. Not because something magical happens on day 3, but because these 2 days will prove, without a doubt, that you have the power to reshape your entire existence simply by changing how you speak to yourself. This isn't about wishful thinking or empty optimism. It's about taking full control of your mental environment and programming yourself for inevitable success. Right now, I want you to imagine two versions of yourself. The first version keeps repeating the same internal dialogue you've had for months or years. The same worries, the same doubts, the same excuses, the same limitations. Fast forward 1 year. Where is that version of you? What has that person achieved, or missed, because their inner voice convinced them they weren't ready, weren't worthy, weren't capable? Now picture the second version of yourself. This one decides, today, to completely revolutionize their inner conversation. This version speaks with the same energy, conviction, and expectation as someone who's already living their dream. They treat their mind like the most valuable space in the universe and allow only thoughts that serve their highest potential. Fast forward 1 year. Where is this version of you? What impossible things have they made possible? What dreams have they brought to life? The difference between these two versions isn't talent, luck, or circumstances. It's the quality of their inner dialogue. And you get to choose which one you become, starting now. Your mind is like a garden. Every thought you entertain is a seed you plant. If you sow doubt, you'll harvest limitation. But if you plant seeds of possibility, breakthroughs will grow. Most people have spent so long cultivating weeds in their mental landscape that they've forgotten what it feels like to nurture thoughts that actually serve them. Yet in just 2 days, you can completely redesign the terrain of your inner world. You need to understand this: your brain is always listening. It doesn't judge whether your thoughts are true or false, rational or irrational, helpful or harmful. It simply absorbs what you repeatedly feed it, and then begins shaping your reality around those inputs. That's why people who constantly complain about being broke often stay in financial struggle. That's why those who always say they're exhausted tend to feel drained. That's why individuals who focus on problems seem to attract more of them. But the same principle works in reverse. When you consistently speak to yourself as someone destined for greatness, your subconscious starts to notice opportunities that were previously invisible. When you affirm your worthiness of success, you begin making choices that successful people make. When you treat your dreams as inevitable, you build the resilience and creativity needed to bring them to life. The most accomplished individuals on the planet have mastered the art of internal leadership. They've become CEOs of their own minds, carefully curating which thoughts get airtime and which ones get dismissed. They know their inner dialogue is their edge. While others let their minds spiral into worry and self-doubt, they're busy programming themselves for excellence, around the clock. And that's exactly what I want you to commit to for the next 48 hours. No half measures. No, I'll give it a try. No, this sounds too simple to work. I'm asking for full dedication. Because your future hinges on what you choose to do with this information over the next 2 days. You're going to become the most uplifting, empowering, and inspiring voice in your own life. Every time you catch yourself thinking something limiting, you'll redirect that thought to serve your highest vision. Every time you notice your focus drifting toward what you don't want, or hear yourself making excuses, you'll replace those with declarations of capability. This isn't about pretending everything's perfect or ignoring challenges. It's about training your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems, on possibilities instead of restrictions, on growth instead of comfort. When adversity shows up, and it will, you won't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" You'll ask, "How is this making me stronger? What is this teaching me? How can I use this to evolve?" Your new inner dialogue begins the moment you wake up. Instead of reaching for your phone or diving into your to-do list, you'll spend the first few minutes of each day programming your mind for success. You'll speak to yourself like someone who is absolutely certain of their worth, their abilities, and their destiny. You'll remind yourself of the progress you've made, the obstacles you've overcome, and the reasons why you're exactly where you need to be to make your next breakthrough. Throughout the day, you'll catch yourself in moments of automatic thinking, and consciously choose thoughts that align with your vision. When you look in the mirror, instead of criticizing your reflection, you'll recognize the incredible machine that is your body and express gratitude for all it does for you. When faced with a tough challenge, instead of thinking, "This is too hard," you'll say, "This is the exact test that will elevate me." When someone criticizes you or you make a mistake, you won't beat yourself up. You'll speak to yourself with the same compassion and encouragement you'd offer a close friend. You'll remind yourself that every expert was once a beginner, every master once stumbled, and every success story started with someone who refused to quit. Those who achieve greatness have learned to be their own biggest supporters, their own best coaches, their most reliable source of motivation. They don't wait for the world to validate their worth, they affirm it themselves. They don't wait for permission to pursue their dreams, they grant it to themselves. They don't wait to feel confident before they act, they build confidence through action. And here's what happens when you consistently speak to yourself this way: your external world begins to shift. Opportunities appear that weren't there before. People respond to you differently. Synchronicities show up more often. Your energy changes. Your posture changes. Your entire presence changes. You begin to move through life as someone who expects good things to happen. And the universe has a way of responding to those expectations. It's not magic, it's psychology. When you shift your inner state, your outer results follow. When you change how you see yourself, others begin to see you differently. When you expand your sense of what's possible, you expand what actually becomes possible. But here's the challenge: for the next 48 hours, you cannot allow a single negative, limiting, or fear-based thought to go unchecked. The moment you catch yourself thinking, "I can't," you'll immediately follow it with, "But I'm learning how." The moment you hear, "This is impossible," you'll respond with, "Everything seems impossible until someone makes it happen." The moment you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," you'll immediately follow it with, "I'm growing stronger every day." This level of mental discipline might feel intense at first, but remember, you're not committing to this forever. It's just 48 hours. 2 days. A short window to prove to yourself that you have full command over your inner world. 48 hours to show that you can consciously choose thoughts that elevate your highest potential. 48 hours to experience what it feels like when your mind becomes your ally instead of your adversary. To become a skilled meditator, you must learn to separate the future from the present moment. You're about to engage in visualization with a level of clarity and emotional depth that most people never reach. Every morning and evening, you'll spend time mentally rehearsing your ideal future. But you won't treat these visions as distant dreams. You'll see them as inevitable realities, destinations you're moving toward with purpose. Your subconscious responds to emotional intensity. The more vividly you imagine your success, the more emotionally connected you are to that vision, the more your brain accepts it as a real objective. Elite athletes have used this technique for decades. They mentally rehearse their performances with such precision and emotion that their brains can't distinguish between visualization and actual practice. You'll do the same with your life. You'll practice success in your mind until it becomes your default setting. You'll rehearse confidence until it becomes second nature. You'll envision yourself as someone worthy of extraordinary opportunities, until those opportunities begin to show up consistently. And during these 48 hours, you'll pay attention to something most people overlook: the quality of the questions you ask yourself. The questions you pose shape the answers you receive. If you ask, "Why can't I ever succeed?" your brain will dig up all the reasons success feels out of reach. But if you ask, "What do I need to do to succeed?" your brain will start generating solutions and strategies. People who struggle tend to ask disempowering questions. Why do bad things always happen to me? Why am I so unlucky? Why can't I catch a break? But high achievers ask questions that inspire growth. What can I learn from this? How can I turn this challenge into an advantage? What would someone who's already solved this do? For the next 2 days, every question you ask yourself should be designed to move you forward. Instead of asking, "Why is this so hard?" ask, "What skills do I need to make this easier?" Instead of, "Why don't I have enough money?" ask, "What value can I create that people would pay for?" Instead of, "Why don't people respect me?" ask, "How can I show up in a way that naturally earns respect?" The quality of your life is shaped by the quality of your questions, and for these 48 hours, you'll ask only those that expand your possibilities, unlock new paths, and reinforce your belief in what you can achieve. You'll also practice what I call emotional leadership. Most people are emotionally reactive. Their feelings are dictated by their circumstances. Something good happens. They feel good. Something bad happens, they feel down. They're like weather vanes, constantly shifting with the winds of life. But extraordinary individuals are emotional leaders. They decide how they want to feel, and then generate those emotions regardless of what's happening around them. Over the next 48 hours, you'll choose in advance how you want to feel each day, and then create those feelings through your inner dialogue. Want to feel confident? You'll speak to yourself in ways that build confidence. Want to feel excited about your future? You'll focus your thoughts on all the incredible possibilities ahead. Want to feel grateful? You'll consciously acknowledge everything in your life that's going well. This isn't about ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's about recognizing that you have far more control over your emotional state than you've been led to believe. Your emotions don't just happen to you. You create them, through the thoughts you choose to focus on and the stories you tell yourself about what those thoughts mean. If this message resonated with you, let me know. Drop the phrase, "My energy creates my reality," in the comments. It's more than just a sentence, it's a signal, a shared code we're sending out into the universe. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do, so you don't miss the next wave of powerful insights and practices. Hit that like button too, it helps this video reach more spiritual seekers just like you. I'll see you in the next one.